So we'll give it like a minute or so, but good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. Let people kind of fall up in here.
Recording in progress.
Right. I think we saw you, Tam. Good morning, everyone who's joining us. We're going to get started in another minute or two. We'll just let everybody get checked in. I'm seeing people kind of come in as we go. Welcome. We got some rain here today. I don't know what it's like where you guys are at.
It wants to rain today.
It sounded so good this morning. I usually get up no matter what time it is, but I just laid there for a while. Good morning again, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. Give you another minute. I have 12:01, so give it another minute. Thank you all for sharing your Saturday afternoon with us. All right, I'll start because we have a packed schedule and people can continue to come in. Just saw a couple more people come in. We have the Q&A function ready, so you can certainly do that. But we're going to just start off here. I'm excited today. I'm excited. I got my girl, my best friend, her husband on this panel. We've been trying to do this for forever, talking about it, but now we finally being about it. So I want to welcome you all with T with an MD, presented by VIP Wellness T. And these are just wellness discussions to really talk about, matters that impact our families, our community. And it's just a laid back atmosphere. We want you guys to join in the discussion, send us your questions and we'll do our best to address them. VIP Wellness T. Mission is to empower everyone to recognize the ability or discover the health benefits of plants and tea. And I'm sipping on my tea now. And Tam, I think I saw yours. And the vision is to make holistic wellness part of everyday life. And that's really the mission of my panelists and the people that I invite here, is to make wellness and holistic wellness part of everyday life. And I want to emphasize the holistic or the whole person aspect of it, right? Because a lot of times, especially me with a health background and working in a traditional healthcare system, we focus a lot on the body only and diagnosis, right? But when we're talking about holistic care, it's really a spiritual, mental, emotional, physical wellness to really help you be well as a whole person. Because how can the mind be well if the spirit is not well? How can the body be well if the mind is not well? And my guests have that same philosophy. So that's why I'm excited to have them here. And I'll just do another plug. The tea that I'm drinking on, Tam, I think you also ordered, is the Perfect Trinity. And it's that same thought process of the mind, body, and spirit, really being dedicated to addressing every aspect of the whole person. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce our panel. And I'm going to start with first, level setting. I think we're all here. It's a Saturday, so it's not as hectic, but for some it is. But I usually like to just ground with intention and invite everybody to really just settle in. You've dedicated this time to your wellness journey. So you can just be still. You can take deep breaths, but we'll just take like 30 to 45 seconds to really just get connected and to prepare ourselves for this discussion. I'm a big fan of deep breathing. Deep breathing does so much as far as just lowering your blood pressure, relaxing the body. It's an almost immediate thing that you can do that doesn't require anything extra except knowing how to take deep breaths. So I invite you to join me, or I invite you to be still, and we'll just breathe in through our nose and exhale out. A couple deep breaths at your own pace. Setting our intention for today. Releasing and forgetting about the things that happened before now. And letting go of what we have to do after this. And just being present in the moment. Right, thank you. I think I really needed that. So I'll start off about me. I mean, my bio is up there. I'm Tamika Foster, physician, pediatrician by training, also with a background in health policy, currently working with a managed care organization. I went over to the health policy and managed care side about 9 years ago now, and also have a health and wellness business that I do. I do a lot of work in health equity and reducing disparities and making sure that people have the right access to care. I believe strongly in person empowerment in their journey to healthcare. I also, similar to some of my guests, have some health coaching training. So I'm excited about that and just integrating all of that into how to help people in their wellness journey. My first panelist is Chris Esters. Welcome, Chris. I'm going to read Chris's bio. She is Chris Esters, and her wellness is her passion. She has a strong desire to meet people where they are and to educate them in simple but effective ways that they can live healthier, happier lives. It's about lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition for Chris. She became interested in health and wellness many years ago when she began to see the poor health outcomes among people of color in this country. As she researched how to become healthier and to avoid the chronic illnesses that many people suffered, she began to realize how important LEAN, L-E-A-N acronym, choices are. Her belief is that when people know better, they do better, and it propelled her commitment to wellness education. She's certified through the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute, and she has been working to help others as a certified health coach and wellness educator. Going lean was one of her easiest transitions with her husband, as she mentions, ever made, and she's passionate about sharing these life-changing tools and informations with you guys. A holistic approach to wellness starts with understanding how your lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition, that's the L-E-A-N, choices integrate and set the stages for your overall health. As a certified health coach and wellness educator, she can show you simple steps to take charge of your health and achieve optimal wellness. And Chris has over 30 years of experience in corporate and higher education. Chris, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to ask all my panelists quickly, what is sort of the icebreaker? What is one self-care practice that you live by?
The thing that I live by most, getting a good night's sleep, taking time to breathe, and just having fun with family.
I love it. Thank you, Chris. So my next panelist, we have Kimberle Smith Austin. Kimberle Smith Austin is a business, health, and lifestyle strategist with nearly 30 years experience working across multiple disciplines, from the boardroom to the playground, serving those between 8 to 80 on their journey to living well. After traveling 30 to 35 weeks a year as a management consultant and adjunct professor, Kimberle moved across the US and pressed play on her passion for wellness. With a love for learning and books, she doubled down on several courses to earn her certified health coach, master personal trainer, nutrition, running coach, martial arts instructor designations, and later adding specialty certifications for both youth and senior fitness. Although Kimberle has been active most of her life, she was caught by surprise when faced with a cancer diagnosis in 2011. With her gloves on and heart committed to win the battle, she began to see things from a different vantage point. Her new perspective equipped and inspired her to dedicate her life to helping others on their journey to living well. Kimberle is the founder and chief wellness officer at Made to Be Fit, a corporate and community wellness organization whose core values center around creating a healthy and happy world, and has earned quite the reputation for transforming all of the new science of healthy living into simple, easy, and fun programs like Walk, Run, Race program, Get Up, Get Active, Get Moving initiative, and the Mile Experiment project, whose goal is to inspire 1 million people to move. Her corporate background, wellness mindset, and lifestyle approach has helped Fortune 500 corporations, nonprofits, and individuals improve their overall health and well-being while increasing their productivity, profitability, and performance. When Kimberle isn't changing the health of the world one person at a time, you can find her living the active life, hiking, biking, swimming, running, and enjoying the great outdoors. She lives in Southern California with her family and furry friend, is it Cassius?
Cassius.
Cassius. Kimberle, welcome. Also a sore, I didn't know that, Tammie, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, this is awesome. I love to take the time to, give people their flowers now, as they say, the recognition of all you do. So I wanted to read these. What's one of your self-care practices?
I call it protected time. And what I mean by that, I have 4 principles: eat, sleep, move, and breathe. And so I start my day each morning in the Word, reading my Word, and then that protected bubble that happens allows me to really have a moment of silence and prayer or meditation, and then taking that breath to really take it all in, what I read and what I heard, so that I can then be the best version of me for the rest of the world. So it would be all of those. That is one for me. It becomes one magical piece.
I love that. It becomes one. And I love that starting the day off just to set that pace, that intention. So thank you, Kimberle. I'm so excited to hear more. So now I'll go to Tammie. Coach T. Tammie Watson, wellness and life coach. Tammie Watson is an entrepreneur with an MBA in finance and a bachelor's degree in public administration that retired from corporate America after 7 years. She has 20 plus years of business and finance experience, as well as passion to help others. Tammie has an innate gift to quickly build relationships and trust, which is why she is passionate about being a wellness and life coach. Tammie has a model of do what it takes to live a better tomorrow. She lives this model by empowering, coaching, and equipping others to transform their goals into a clear, thought out plan of action while discovering their authentic greatness. Her CPR, or Clarity, Plan of Action, and Resolve program has helped many feel that are stuck to resuscitate their life by helping them get clarity on what they want, a thought out plan of action, with the resolve to discover their God-given authentic greatness, which is her CPR program. Welcome, Tammie. Also, that was Coach T.
Hey, good morning.
And what they don't know is I've been knowing Tammie since 6th grade. We ain't gonna get into the person. That's my girl. And it's just a blessing to really, my daughter and I were talking about this, to be able to say you've had people in your life that long, right? Because so many people they're in and out, friendships don't last, but man, I have been blessed to have people like from way, way back, like before the Dr.This, they know Tamiko,
Yeah.
and I appreciate those people, and I appreciate you so much, girl. Thanks for being here. What's your self-care practice?
First of all, giving it back to you. Can't not say that. Loving our relationship, loving our friendship. And I just want to say this as well, you guys. Sometimes we think about relationships and maybe the contact isn't there consistently, but a real relationship is when I pick up the phone and it's like whatever 5, 10, 3 years, whatever else it is, it's been truncated and it feels like we've been talking for years. So I just want to share that, because sometimes we think about relationships and that means, oh, they're talking every day. No, but when we do talk, it comes back with that. And I am grateful because many people don't have that. So thank you for that. In my one self-care, I always, like Kimberle said, I start off every morning, bring it back to God. That is my base, my foundation, my understanding, because my faith without works and without him is dead. Breath comes from him. So nothing else can happen without that. And so I always bring that back to him and being grateful. Starting my day off with what I'm grateful for, because it's so easy to go into the mundane of, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. But Lord, thank you for my kids. Yes, they might be challenging, but I am grateful for my kids. I am grateful for my husband who has allowed me to be an entrepreneur, because it's not an easy road and it can be very scary, especially I know Kimberle's taking care, she's an entrepreneur herself. And so that can be scary. And so he's allowed me to do that. So I can go on all day long, but that's my biggest thing, is just being grateful.
Thank you. That spirit of gratitude is
Yeah.
healing to our body. So moving right along, last and certainly not least, we have Mr. Eric Watson. Mr. Eric Watson was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in the Washington metropolitan area. He graduated from Syracuse University in '92, where he majored in philosophy. He also earned his master's in education from Central Michigan University and his MBA from University of Maryland Smith School of Business. Eric was commissioned a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps in 1992 and was winged a naval aviator 2 years later. He served honorably as a helicopter and jet pilot until he retired from the Marine Corps in 2012 and began work with the U.S. Army as a project manager. He provided support for the Defense Health Agency for 3.5 years, then transitioned to his current position with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau as a project manager. Eric continuously gives back to his community through his community service efforts with the Omega Psi Phi fraternity and as a commissioner of the Prince George's County, Maryland Commission for Veterans. Eric has been in the direct sales and network marketing industry for 10 years and has admittedly learned many lessons, having been involved with 4 different businesses over that time. He and his wife now have a very successful health and wellness business, and he believes that direct sales businesses can serve as a training ground for entrepreneurs. Mr. Watson, first of all, thanks again for your service, and thank you for being here. What is your self-care practice?
When you talk about self-care, I mean, when you talk about wellness, there are so many different facets to wellness, as you already alluded to. But I think what I tend to focus more on is the physical wellness aspect for various reasons. But I look at it more holistically when you talk about, I look at it as a self-care regimen, more so as far as getting proper sleep, proper hydration, eating right. For those that don't know, I'm vegan, and supplementing my my diet adequately. So that's my overall regimen when it comes to, again, there are so many different facets to wellness, but when it comes to physical wellness, that's my focus. But I can go off in so many directions when we talk about the different aspects of wellness, but we'll just focus on the physical right now.
That's amazing. And I remember we both kind of started our vegan journey. I'm not vegan anymore, but I am what they call a whole food plant-based, makes up probably 80 to 90% of my diet. Then I have my salmon here and there, maybe some chicken here and there, but it's far and few between. But I remember when we started that conversation years ago, right? And we were talking about different meat alternatives and things like that. So I'm proud of you for still hanging in there, bro.
And you know what? I probably shouldn't use the word vegan because, when you talk about vegan, that's a whole lifestyle.
It's a mindset, a lifestyle. Exactly.
Right. So for me, it's not so much about, animal rights and those type things. It's, I consider myself more plant-based.
There you go. So you come up to the plant-based, right? I think that's a better way to look at it. And we're going to talk more about the importance of nutrition and wellness, because I don't think we have enough conversations about that in a healthy way, not talking about fad dieting and things like that. But as you say, we just don't have enough time to talk about all the stuff that I know we all can talk about. So we're going to keep it moving. So I would start just initially with your first reaction to the topic. What does it mean to get your house in order? So the theme was healthy home, getting your house in order. That really has been sitting with me lately. And I'll go back to Kimberle first for this one.
What a great question. And as you said it, my brain just went immediately. You know, when most people hear the term healthy home, they think of the physical home, this structure that was created for them to reside in, their residence. When I think of healthy home, I think of this body that we have. This is our home, and it's the only place we have to live in. And so when you think about that, my mind immediately says, oh, I have to take care of my home from the inside out. It's not a one process. It's not just the outside. It's not just the inside. I need to take care of me. If I know that this is the only body that I have to consider all elements, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, the environmental, the financial. That is my entire home. And those are the elements that came to mind when I saw the title.
Well said. How about you, Chris?
Well, I tell you, I wasn't that deep when I thought about it. I'm like, healthy home, of course. But it is just similarly, it's not just what you're eating or putting in your body, it's what's surrounding your body within that structure of those four walls. It's what you put on your skin. So it's paying attention to what you breathe in, it's paying attention to all of those areas because they all impact our health. They all, as our bodies are overloaded with environmental toxins, we have the problem with inflammation. Everybody's here's the word inflammation and all of that. But it's the entire picture. It's the inside.
I'm getting a little delay from you, Chris, but we heard you. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's okay. We got it. How about you, Eric?
For me, I was, as I already alluded to, you know, there's so many different facets of wellness. And when I thought about the title of this, I thought about prioritizing the different aspects of wellness. You know, when it comes to your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your financial wellness, your spiritual wellness, all the different aspects of wellness, and prioritizing those affairs, prioritizing what is most important to you, and setting an action plan and acting on how to go about improving your wellness in those various areas.
Perfect. And what about you, Tammie? What came to mind for you?
So I initially thought about house versus home. So you can go through a neighborhood and you see a lot of beautiful houses and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to live there. I want to live there. I want to live there. But a house isn't a home unless we make it. And what's making it a home encompasses all the things that we're talking about as wellness. And so if I'm looking at a physical home, that means, am I taking care of the environment in the home to make it healthy? Am I financially able to afford the house if I'm living there? What are the relationships going on in the household? Because that also impacts wellness as far as what we're talking about. And then personally, am I taking care of me? And so when I heard that, I think about, is it a house or is it a home?
Y'all getting deep on me today. Okay, so I would speaking of that, that's a perfect transition because I have a question for both you and Eric. You both have unique backgrounds, and as you're talking about that, what's a house versus a home, you brought up you used to be a realtor. You did stuff in the housing market and probably still dabbling business, finance. And with Eric, I don't know if y'all heard me say it when I read his bio, a pilot. I don't, it's like, and it's people in my family, Eric, that's still stuck on that. They just amazed. But what motivated you to transition? It wasn't really a transition. And when we're talking about health and wellness, people will say, hey, how did they end up there with their health and wellness business? So talk about your why and what was the motivation behind that?
For me and Eric, when we first got married, we actually sat down and we had a particular goal that we had set. And and actually it was age 45. At 45, we wanted to be retired. We wanted to be set in a certain place financially. And we had a particular goal in place, and him and I set forward to get it done. Now, what's funny is, our plans are God's way of saying, ha, 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 this is what we're going to do. And so going through all that, he took us through some adversity, some challenges, some setbacks, some very, 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 very hard times that, one, if we didn't grow through it, we wouldn't be where we are today. And so the challenges of him being in the military and me being a mom of 4 kids, I ended up leaving corporate America to stay at home. And so all of those little challenges that we had throughout the way, I think brought us to where we are today. And so, yes, it looks great on the outside, but all the challenges, we all have challenges, we all know it. But understanding that our challenges are the things that help us grow to who we are and where we're going to go. And so I think that's how him and I have alluded or came to where we are today, is because of our challenges. Our desire is always family. Our same foundation is still family. We realize to be there for them, we've got to be healthy. We've got to take care of self, and we got to take care of finance. We got to take care of all those things that will allow our family to be healthy in so many different ways.
Amen. And I just want to say quickly, I love the intentionality about you two, the divine partnership, but then setting that intent early on how you want to make a plan and a vision for your family. Because I think a lot of times we'll do self-vision boards and stuff on an individual level, but there should really be visions for the family. What's the goals for the family? So, Mr. Eric, can you speak more to that in your why?
Well, I say Tammie spoke more to the us portion of the why and the business aspect, but as far as my personal wellness journey, as far as me transforming my diet and the way I work out and those type things, is actually twofold. Number one, as I am now 52 years old, I have seen way too many people my age and younger who have either passed away or are dealing with preventable type illnesses at this stage in their lives. All right. And I want to be around, basically. We have younger kids. We have a 7th grader, a 9th grader, one in college, two in college. So we have kids, and I want to see them, grow up, get married and all that type stuff. So for me personally, that's half of the challenge. The other half is 20 years in the Marine Corps was a bit unforgiving on my body, right? So, doing the pull-ups every day. I've had 3 shoulder surgeries. I've had, plantar fasciitis. And I don't know if anyone is aware, but the body's not meant to sustain those high frequency vibrations when you fly in helicopters all the time. So I've had, back issues. So all those things associated with things like inflammation forced me to kind of change the way I go about eating, supplements, working out, all those type things. So when it comes to my personal why, now again, Tammie covered the us portion of the why, but for my personal why, when it comes to my physical wellness, those are the things that actually played a large factor in the way I go about my individual wellness now.
Amen. And like you say, it's different when it hits close to home and it's happening to you, real time. Chris, how did you become passionate about wellness, and what was your why?
Sure. So, I'm the youngest of 6. The brother closest to me is 7 years older, and then there's a 9 years, and then 11 years, and then there was 18 years and 20 years. That's the span between me and my siblings. When I grew up, I kind of grew up only child. They were already kind of gone. So Mom and I, when they were all off to school and gone in the Air Force and all of that, Mom and I, we were kind of alone. So I ate better. I mean, we had steak and we had salads, and they had the sandwiches with the fried chicken and all the stuff that was spread. And over time, all of my siblings have one of the highs: high blood pressure or multiple, high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol levels, high blood sugar. I didn't have any of that. I'm not on any medications. And I couldn't figure out, I'm like, well, why is it? So I thought that all of that was hereditary, but obviously not. We have the same parents, same genes. Why did I have different things going on in my life that I had health that they didn't have? So that really got me thinking about it and looking and searching. And then I started to realize that a lot of it did have to do with eating habits, with your diet. And so in my quest to help them, I'm the baby. So of course I know nothing, right? I said, okay, let me get a certification in this, because if I'm certified, at least they'll know I halfway know what I'm talking about, and hopefully can help them change their lives. In the process of all of that was my driving why, honest, that was it. But in the process of that, there's so many other people to help. When COVID happened, and initially, the majority of people dying were African Americans, and most of them had diabetes or something. So that got me thinking about it. And then I just decided I'm giving this away. I started a Facebook page, started talking about the things that I learned so that our people could learn how to be healthier and live longer. And I'm happy to say that in the beginning, I would say things like, take vitamin D3. And now everybody's telling me, oh, I'm taking vitamin D3 because I'm vitamin D deficient. So it's working, it's helping. So that's my why. That means everything to me.
I love it. It's so many things that you said were rich. And I was giggling because I'm a baby too. And you know, I didn't get MD, MPH, went to Harvard, this and they still like forgetting that I'm a doctor and I know what I'm talking about. My stepdad sometimes be like, oh yeah, you do know that. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of what I do every day, but, and it just reminds me of how they said Jesus had to leave his hometown. You know how sometimes the people closest to you, they just know you from that person. And it's like, I got a whole other life that I'm trying to help y'all to get to know, but I'm the baby, you know, I'm Red and every other nickname, got about 5 nicknames, but I you know, it's just funny. But I love your why, and I'm passionate about that too. I want to empower people to help make these decisions and to just kind of energize and give them that expert, because you are the experts of your own bodies. I tell people all the time, yes, we got the training, we've got our certifications. So we bring a certain skill set to the table, but you bring in that expertise of being the expert of your own body. So it's really a partnership. Kimberle, made to be fit. And this is so much in the name. We all want to hear about your why.
You know, that's such a great question. And the reason I say that is my why and my history, they don't necessarily align. Mm-hmm. You know, I grew up for Southern roots, family, mom, dad, grandparents, all Southern. And I'll tell you, as a young person, I ate everything under the sun. I was athletic. I was cheerleader, track, and gymnastics. And I would come home from practice and eat chicken and French fries every day. And my mother would say, you're going to fly one day. You're going to fly. And I remember that. But something happened and I can't explain it. Mom and dad weren't active. No one around me were active or eating healthy. But there was this little quiet sound that says, eat better, do better, move. And as a result, I just kind of fell into that and found myself active. And I became more interested. I partnered with a wellness company, learned a little bit more here, got certified here, and all these things just kept happening. People ask me all the time, is your family healthy? I'm like, yeah, no, do they? And like Eric and yourself, I decided 20 years ago that I would stop drinking milk, cow's milk, just because of the studies and all the information I learned. And then I learned just more information about the cholesterol, animal protein, and how it processes through our body than plant protein. So 15 years ago, I have a 15-year-old son. I decided he'd never eat meat, and he's 15 and he never has. And I started that journey then with the food. Now, before that, I stopped putting pork in my greens and just start changing. And again, I have no explanation why, other than I knew that it was better. And as you heard in my bio, I encountered cancer head on. In 2011, I was already vegetarian. I was already super active. And I tell people all the time, diseases, they don't discriminate. You can be healthy, happy, whole. You can be doing all the right things, but yet you can encounter this disease face on. And so when you're proactive in your approach, which is what I was doing, it gives us a better opportunity to overcome the situation. And so when I look at that and I look at the health of the people around me, I realize that our health is truly our wealth. And that was why I knew it wasn't that MBA. It wasn't working at corporations and traveling 30, 45 weeks a year. It was my health. If I can spend time, energy, effort right here and build and create this health, then it gives me a better chance of not only being better for me, but being better for the we that I serve. That was my why.
Oh, I love it. And I think it's always worth getting back to the why, you know, just having a deeper meaning of why you're doing this. As you say, we can have these jobs. I'm still connected to the corporate world, but this is really what feeds me. I mean, that feeds me on a different level, but this work, when I started my wellness business 10 years ago now, it was motivated by a health crisis that I went through. And I was set down for a while, almost 6 months on medical leave at a time that I was supposed to be thriving and working and doing all of this stuff. And it really helped me to get back and take a step back and look at various ways to what it means to be healthy and the different ways, even tapping into different cultures and the way things are done. We talked a little bit last time with a friend of mine. She said she's a physician and a Christian. And she was like, I thought it was wrong to meditate and those kind of things. And it's like, you know, we have to get out of that religiosity, you know, and be able to explore. And that we can come back on a whole nother show and talk about that stuff. But a lot of what you said just really touched my spirit. And I thank you. So I'm gonna go back to Eric, because I think this is important because we miss this a lot. We talk a lot about food, which is absolutely important, activity, which is absolutely important. The financial piece, you do a lot with financial fitness. And, you know, I don't think people consider that a part of the wellness journey. Can you talk about the work that you do and what it means for families and how they can attain that or start to attain that financial fitness as it relates to their wellness journey?
Okay, and I think one thing that I unintentionally omitted from my my bio is that I am a DaveRamsey financial coach. So, you know, I work with people in that regard. But in that vein, as we already mentioned, there are so many different aspects to wellness, right? Again, there's a physical, the mental, spiritual, and they're all intertwined, right? They're all interrelated, and we need to, you know, take that into consideration. And what we tend to do is we take one aspect of wellness and declare victory, right? So, you know, I've been working on my my physical wellness, so I'm good. But mentally, have you been working on your mental wellness, right? Your spiritual wellness? Have you been working on all those other things? Or, you know, we take one piece of one. And I'll go back to the physical again. Like, you know, I work out in the gym 3 times a week. So I'm good when it comes to my physical wellness. But again, are you hydrating? Are you sleeping? Are you, you know, is your diet what it should be? So we have to take a more of a holistic approach and understand that they're all interrelated. So to bring all that home, it's when we think about financial wellness, it affects so many different aspects of other wellness, right? So when you're in a bad financial place, it causes so much stress in your life, right? So, you know, it affects your mental wellness from, you know, potentially from self-esteem purposes, or, you know, from the aspect of self-esteem. It could affect your physical wellness because you could lose sleep over, you know, your finances and those type things. So it affects so many different things, and, you know, and vice versa, right? So other parts of wellness can affect your financial wellness. But for me personally, with financial wellness, what I look at in the clients that I deal with is I look at 2 different things when I talk about their individual financial wellness. Number one, their net worth. And there are so many people that are, we'll call them investment rich, but they are debt poor, right? So, you know, they're trying to do too much at once is what I call it, right? And that's why I like the DaveRamsey methodology, because it systematically goes about, number one, before you even focus on those investments over there, you focus on eliminating that debt, right? So you want to focus on getting rid of all that excess baggage and that debt before you start focusing on you know, a lot of those investments, because you know, you could, again, with your net worth, you could have a lot of investments over here, but if you have all this debt over here, then you're not necessarily improving your net worth. And the other thing I look at is the disposable income that you have at the end of the month, right? So if you have all that debt paid off, then you have a bit of disposable income to work with and help out with things like, if you need a mental health break, you can take that vacation, right? Because you have the money over there without having to incur debt associated with it, right? So as again, a Dave Ramsey financial coach, the first thing I focus on is that debt reduction and making sure that people are conscious and aware of the fact that, you know, before you eliminate that debt, you're really not improving your situation, because you're just shifting, you know, money from place to place. And again, that can affect your overall wellness. Again, as we talked about, they're all interrelated, right? So that's basically my, you know, how I address clients when I work with them when it comes to, you know, their individual financial wellness.
And that's so important. I want to just get your thoughts on this really quick, because I tell people, because people have the idea that if you make so much money that, you know, you're financially, that automatically equals financially freedom. But I know people 6 figures and up living paycheck to paycheck, you know. And so I try to instill in my daughter and people, because I never, you know, our parents, they worked, they did the best they could, but it wasn't really a lot of saving, investing and things like that. So my generation is kind of, me and my sister, so we're kind of the new money per se. We didn't grow up in it, but we're experiencing it for the first time, where we can actually say, I can go and invest, I can pay this off, I can save, and live that lifestyle, and trying to teach that to our children. But I really think it starts with a mindset. And when I had that shift, like, I always been, as they say, frugal with my money. Like I pay my bills, do all that first. I'm very careful about my money. But I read the Dave Ramsey book several years ago, and just really had a shift in how I thought about money. And I just want you to quickly speak about that piece of it, because I think many times people think they need to just make more money, and that's not often the answer.
Well, what did Biggie say? More money, more problems?
Hey.
And again, it is a mindset. And what we have to get away from is the keeping up with the Jones type mentality, right? And, you know, we make more money, and we want to show everybody that we're making more money. And we have to get away from that whole image thing. And I think it's a cultural problem that we have, that we always have to show everything that we have, right? And I made a bit of a transition recently, because I used to drive a Mercedes-Benz. Now I drive a pickup, right? So I'm not, you know, too enamored with the cute stuff. That's what I call it, the cute stuff anymore, right? Just trying to show people that I have this, that I have that. I want to have nice things for my family, right? Make sure they have, you know, a nice home to live in. But when it comes to the flash, I think that's something that we all have to get away from, because there's a mentality that if you project that you have that, then, you know, people will hold you to on a higher level, because they see that you have these things. And we have to get away from that. Like I've totally gotten away from, you know, the clothes that I get. You know, my wife will tell you, I had I forgot what the name of the company is, but I had them deliver clothes to me on a monthly basis. It's not name brand stuff that I wear all the time. I just wear clothes, basically, right? Transition my car. So we have to get away from that whole flashy mindset. And that's exactly what you were alluding to. We try to buy ourselves into satisfaction.
That's a good one to end on. That's a good one to end on. Kimberle, I would love you to add to that.
You know, I really love that. Eric mentioned so many things, and I think even Tamiko saying that you didn't grow up with money, but now you're the new money. And that would be me, born and raised in Chicago, living in a household where money was like, where am I going to be able to go to school? Who has car fare, bus fare, Midwesterners trying to get to school. And for some reason, for me, my brain shifted to, I have to save every dime I can get because I don't know when the next one is coming, which has created healthy habits for me. But on that same note, there's times when I struggled, like I need something new, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's not a financial priority. So I wouldn't buy it. And I remember a season in my life, I was making nice money and was dating a guy, and he was like, why don't you get a BMW? And I'm like, boy, please, I don't waste my money like that. And it's interesting because I vacillated on it. I didn't do it for a long time. And then one day I said, wait a minute, I have no debt as a young 29-year-old making six figures, no debt. Only thing I had was a mortgage. And I did it. I did it, and I say that. And then after that, I did another BMW and another BMW. And then my brain switched back on. Two things happened. Number one, I read DaveRamsey. I used to be a Robert Kiyosaki. I worked in the financial services industry. So even though you work there, you've got the MBA, there's not the education there on money. So reading DaveRamsey shifted my brain in a whole new way. Driving BMW, decided, you know what? Nope. I don't want it anymore. I went and paid cash for a Volvo still, and it really was a shift. And I still have these values that are in line. But what I did, like Eric, probably 2 years ago, I bought my first American car. It's a Ford Fusion now. And I say this funny because there's still some little things that happen to me from time to time, even though I don't care about that material stuff. I want to know at the end of the day, there's money left so I can do and save and experience life at the next level. And it's not about the material things, but having a Ford Fusion hybrid, I save money, I save gas. And those are values that are important to me. And I'm teaching my 15-year-old son because he's like, Mom, let's get that new Tesla. Let's get this. And I'm like, yes, there's a part of me that wants it, but it's not a financial priority. Now, if my money aligns, which in some ways it can and it will, but is that where we want to spend it? And I think Eric said it oh so well. And as we age in the 50s, there's a shift there that says, I need my money to go here to do this and do that for me, instead of me putting it all out into the world to showboat.
Maturity. It's a money maturity. That's what I call it. I am living way below my means right now. I'm gonna come up a little because I think I went a little bit too far, but I'm gonna come up a little bit. But it's that money maturity. I love it. I want to get back to Chris because I want to talk more about this role of health coaching, because I think a lot of people don't understand what that is, why it's important. So if you could talk a little bit about what a health coach is and the benefits of working with one.
So a health coach is not someone who's going to tell you what to do or make you do anything that you don't want to do. A health coach should be someone that you partner with, who can encourage you, who can help educate you, give you tools to use, information that you may not have, but to work with you as you walk your journey. Not everybody is ready to just jump out and go run a marathon with my good friend Kim. She's kicking my butt. We're on a thing together. She's wearing me out. But not everybody's ready for that. And she works with us. A perfect example at where you are. If it's moving, just walking a little bit further down the road this time than not. So a coach works with you in that respect. But I think also a responsibility of a coach is to bring the good information and to say, okay, you had French fries 2 days in a row. That's not really on the plan that you told me that you wanted to be on. So maybe we make a different choice the next time. That would have been me 2 days ago as I traveled down from North Carolina. Not the best choices. So there's another thing about health coaches. We are working on ourselves all the time. It's a constant battle. I try very hard to just encourage people to eat whole, real food. I call it real food, as close to what nature makes it as possible. No process, no, stay out of the middle aisles, simple things. These are simple things that you can do. And then you build up to the rest. You build up to the working your body. I'm sure Kim didn't do that from the beginning. And then when I hear you 50-some-year-olds talk about getting old, let me tell you about getting old. I'm 67. But I would say this, that going through this process, I'm off your subject, but I need to say this. As you go through life and you're getting to this place, like you all are talking about getting older. I'm older, but in the time I too read Dave Ramsey. Back in 2008, Ed and I both were laid off our jobs at the same time. I was unemployed for 18 months and he was unemployed for maybe 20 months. We did not lose our home. We did not lose a pound because we had eliminated debt out of our life. We didn't have credit cards. We had to pay mortgage. We got behind, thank God. They let us stay here and we were able to get ourselves back on our feet once we got jobs. But if we had the debt, it would have been over. I don't know what would have happened. I'm sitting in a house right now that we would have lost back in 2008. But anyway, so the idea of coaching, even in financial, telling you the things, he coached us to get rid of the debt. It was our choice to do it or not do it. If we're a good coach, we'll encourage, but that's really all a coach can do, is just encourage you to do the things that you want to do, that you set your goals to help you towards that goal. That's it.
And that's amazing. And I just want you to add one thing, because this is what I remember from some of the health coaching I took, is the whole issue about how do you motivate people? Like, how do you find what's going to motivate people to change? It may not, and I'm sure all of you have come across this, it's not the obvious sometimes. Like you would think like, okay, they sick and they're not feeling well and they take these medicines. Like, I would think they would want to like not feel that way. That's not usually like a motivation for some people. So we talked about, I remember things such as like motivational interviewing and that the whole stages of change. Do you integrate that into your practice? And can you say a little bit about that?
Sure. I probably think differently about this than a lot of people. I don't believe you can motivate people. I really don't. I think motivation comes from within. You can inspire them, and you inspire them by, you've got this situation. Let me tell you about 5 people who were in that same place, and this is what they did. You said you wanted to do this. If you do these things, might be what you'll see. But to be motivated, it has to come from within. And I don't believe that until people are really ready, until they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, nothing will change. Now that's kind of, I probably shouldn't say that to a prospective client, like I can't motivate you, but it is the truth.
I think that's real. And some of the other people that do coaching, please jump in. I was getting more to, they use the term motivational interviewing, but I think it's really like Kimberle and some of us was talking about, really getting to a person's why or what's going to move them to make that change. Tammie, did you want to say something about that?
And honestly, I think that's honestly what it's finding the why and it's understanding mindset. I think about, I'm gonna go back to with Eric at finances. I think everything starts with finances or health. If you don't have enough money, you can't get healthy. And so the question is, what is our mindset? What has our experiences been that may cause me to be tunnel vision and I can't see outside of anything else? What are my experiences or traumas that have prevented me from wanting to be healthier, wanting to improve my finances, wanting to improve my relationships? And as a coach, our job is to listen more and understand those things. And, I might talk with Tamiko and she say something, but there's a little laugh afterwards. And like, yeah, I can do this. Oh, tell me about that, Tamiko. Why are you laughing? What do you think is funny about that? And that's what makes a good coach, because we're listening and we're learning and we are empathizing. I can motivate you and tell you, go get this done. If you don't get it done, this is what's going to happen. But I know very little people that is going to work from fear. Well, that's going to work from, the fact you're going to lose something. And so what I try to do is always relate and connect with where you are. So if I am, like I always talk with Kimberle, I'm losing weight. If I'm looking to lose weight, where am I at? Okay, I'm not where Kimberle is. I am not where Eric is. No, that is not me. But what I have done is I've cut out meat more. I don't eat as much meat. And for me, that's good. But if you try to put me in comparison to Kimberle, I'm stopping. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not progressing because, oh my God, I'll never be like Kimberle, but I'm not. As a coach, we've got to look at each person as each person and where Tammie is. And am I moving Tammie forward? It's a win. This week, Chris did not eat any French fries. Woo, we're going to celebrate the French fries. No eating French fries. And that's it, you guys. It's those little progresses that we make. If we capitalize on the little things, they become bigger and they become bigger. And before we look back, we're like, oh my God, I'm down, weight, or I've saved some money, I'm out of debt, or whatever else it is. And that's the key to coaching. What makes it different is the personalized connection. So thank you for letting me add, for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm a come right back at you. And we got time. I said 1:15, so we got a little wiggle room, and I want to have our attendees definitely if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat or Q&A. I want to mention two things. One that you said was profound. One, you can't motivate people out of fear. On a personal level, I feel like that was one of the biggest things that was done wrong on a public health level with the pandemic, was trying to motivate people simply out of fear. And I think it may have moved people more into more mental health and anxiety more than anything than motivate them to do what's right, or what we said was right. The second thing is, I think you were talking about building that relationships and trust. So I think that's key with any relationship. If I'm telling you something, when people listen, they're not going to care about my title, my certification. They want to know, can I trust this person that's giving me this information? So how do we get back to building the trust? How do we build trust in relationships? Because that's one of the biggest things we know, especially as our Black community, Black and brown communities, Black communities specifically, we have huge discrepancies of what we call health disparities, these gaps, and even when you adjust for income and wealth and things like that, we still have these huge differences. There are many things that account for that. But as a provider or someone in the health field that's trying to empower people and educate and bring healing, having a trusting relationship is a huge part of that, because people aren't going to follow what I say if they don't trust me or have some form of trust. So you mentioned your gift of building trust and relationships and being able to have that. Some people just have it naturally. But talk about how you're able to do that, and what are some foundations of building trust and trusting relationships?
So I believe this is a gift that has been given to me by God. So a lot of times people will talk just because, and there's sometimes I'm like, Lord, I don't want to listen to somebody, but it's my energy. There's certain things, there's body language that happens. And usually when that comes, I'm asking those questions. And so one thing that made me think about this, there was a video, and there was a young Caucasian female sitting by a bus stop, and there was an African-American young man that came and sat next to her. And he had his headphones on and he listened to music or whatever else. And then the bus comes up and he looks at his wallet and he's like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. And he taps a Caucasian lady and says, excuse me, could you give me $1 for bus? And she's like, I don't have any money. Sorry about that. And so that clip ends. There's another clip that happens. There's a Caucasian male that comes and sits next to the same Caucasian woman. And he sits down and he says, hey, how you doing today? She's like, oh my God, I'm great. How are you? Oh, I'm doing great as well. And they have this conversation. And then the bus comes. And he's like, oh, I don't have any money. Can I have a couple of dollars for the bus fare? She reaches in her purse and she gives the gentleman money. Well, when I shared this clip, everybody's like, oh my God, she's racist, yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, stop. The gentleman had a conversation. The gentleman actually, the walls were up for both people, but his conversation began to bring the walls down where that level of trust was there. And so the biggest question is, you know, we're always busy, we're always this, and we're always that, but how are we really connecting with other people? Is it, hey, Chris, how you doing? It's like, oh, my day is not great. Oh, that's great. Talk to you later.
Right.
Chris said her day wasn't great. And I said, great. So am I listening and am I connecting? That's going to be the biggest thing as far as making a connection and building that trust, is really connecting. And because of the internet and the social media and the cell phones and everything else, it is very, very hard to be able to connect with somebody because we're doing this all the time. So that's what I would say, is just building that connection and listening.
That's awesome. And we just have a couple more minutes. I don't know if people need to log off. I'm just seeing if we have any questions. Nothing right now. Let me check the Q&A, make sure. Okay. And one thing I used to leave out of that, I don't know if you ever heard of, they call it the trust triangle. I think it was by Francis Frey, if I'm saying the name right. But it talks about 3 components of trust. And one you was really talking about, well, I'm going to infer, it's just the being authentic. So showing up as yourself was one. The second one was empathy. So the ability to be present in the moment, to connect. And that example you gave about the young man at the bus stop, I think of that. He was present and able to speak in that moment and be present in that moment. And the third one, which I had never considered, and a friend of mine actually brought it to my attention. I just never thought it as a component of trust. But in this model, they talk about logic as a component of trust.
Yeah.
And being able to clearly explain, right, not feelings, because I think we spend a lot of time talking about feelings and emotions. And one of the things I have to repeatedly tell myself is feelings aren't necessarily facts. It doesn't erase that they're there and they're present and they can be real, but this whole notion of logic. And I don't know if Kimberle or any of you guys want to close on that, or just talking about trust. In any of the work that we do, we need to be able to have trust with the people that we serve, even within our families. We need, to be able to have that relationship with our children, our spouses, our family members. So I'll just open it up and we'll close on that if anyone wants to add to this discussion about building trust.
I would like to say, I think maybe it kind of ties into the logic piece, but because we have some level of training, different levels, but we have probably more than what our clients have. We know a little bit more than what they know. Being able to speak and explain things in a way that they can understand, and not talking all of the technical terms, but making it real and easy for them to understand, but it being correct about it. Not just throwing stuff at them because, they don't know what I'm talking about anyway. So if I mess up, it's okay. That's not okay. We have to come correct. And we also have to they have to know that we are what our word is bond. What we say is what we truly believe, what we really are recommended out of logic, the knowing of something, but also that they can trust that what we're saying, we're not going to come back later and say something different. I don't mean like you can't change your view on something, but I'm talking about just coming back with another answer that because we didn't give the first one a complete thought. We didn't think it through before we spewed out something. A lot of my nieces and nephews will tell you when they want advice, they'll come to me because they know I'm going to tell them what's right, whether it sounds right or not, whether they want to hear it or not. That kind of thing is is being real and being I don't know how to explain it. My words are lost, but it's just being real, and they know they can trust what you're saying, that you're going to do what you say. And they can trust that. I think that's really what I'm trying to say here. I'm losing my words here, but that's what I'm trying to say.
You got it. That's the authenticity. That's exactly you yourself, and they trust that you know who you are, and so they're going to trust the words that come from your mouth. So, yeah.
And
Kimberle,
I don't try to be and speak what I don't know. That's like don't be. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to talk about being a doctor if I'm not a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
to kind of piggyback on that, I think a lot of that trust comes from, the experiences that other people have. And as an example, if you want to try to teach me how to fly a helicopter, if you don't have experience in flying helicopters,
Yeah.
I don't trust you as my instructor, right? So there has to be kind of a been there, done that kind of factor involved in a lot of the trust, as well as one of the main things, and I think someone already alluded to it, is active listening. A lot of times, we don't necessarily hear, we listen, we hear people, but we don't necessarily listen to what they're saying. And we try to, sometimes from a coaching perspective, we want so hard to get our point across and so hard to explain something that we're not actually hearing that, okay, maybe this doesn't apply to your situation, right? So we have to hear and understand. And, I always, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Use that in all of my communications with everyone. And that helps to build that trust as well.
I love that, Eric, because that's exactly where I was going. I love Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. As I listened to all of you, I thought of the story of my father, who is passed away, God rest his soul. But my father was an amazing person, but he would love to push the Bible on you. He was a Bible thumping. Now, he didn't go to church, but he was telling you the Bible this, the Bible that, and all my cousins have stories about him. But I remember as a young teenager having a discussion with Dad about the Bible. And, he goes, churches, he had a very kind of negative energy about church. And I said to him, Dad, I love you. And a lot of the information you give me has helped me become the person I am becoming. But one thing that I think you have to go to people where they are. You can't come with this 60, 70, 80,000 view. You've got to come to where I am for me to even know that you care enough about me to relate to me so that I can build the trust in who you are and the information that you're saying. If I'm coming to you saying, Jesus is Lord and you better repent, there's some truth to that. But where is this person right now in this season in their life? If you can come and relate and connect, be authentically yourself, have that empathy about their situation and where they are, trust is truly formed. And I love it when people are able to then articulate their thoughts and feelings based on what you're saying. That gives them some comfort and ease with you, and then help you be able to say, okay, now we're volleying. Now we're really building a relationship, because we know that it's relationship with two people. It's not me just passing my thoughts, feelings, emotions, and, education on you. It's about, what do you feel? And Eric said it, actively listen first, and that's going to change the scope of the relationship and really help you build that true trust, no matter where they are.
That's good. That's good. Just adding on to that, you guys, I think about logical. And I had listened to a story that Les Brown just shared the other day. And he was talking about, first and foremost, him growing up, he wasn't, quote unquote, or known as being that smart. And he came home one day and he was crying to his mom. And he's like, mommy, they were calling me dumb and they're calling me this. And I'm sick and tired of it. Mommy, I'm tired of it. And mom came back and said, sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. And I share that because sometimes we use words or quotes or things that we've learned that may not be as true or logical. And to that young child at that particular time, it wasn't logical. He's like, they did hurt, because if they didn't, I wouldn't have cried. If they didn't hurt, I wouldn't have such low self-esteem about myself. And so sometimes from his mom's standpoint, that might have been logical. And it goes back to what Kimberly's saying, as far as meeting somebody where they are. But as a little bitty baby, or I ain't gonna say bitty baby, but a youth that has been hurt by words, that wasn't logical. And so when you're saying that triangle, it makes me think of that. There was another gentleman, I just see Kimberly, so I think about fitness, and it was, he was a fitness trainer, and he couldn't understand why people would come in and not lose weight. Look, eat eat what I tell you to eat, work out. If your calories is less than what you're working out, then you're gonna lose the weight. Let's do this, let's follow it, let's shut up and let's go. And he's like, I don't understand why these people are not doing it. So logically, it made no sense to him. A plus B equals C. Why isn't it working? Well, when he decided to say, you know what, let me go into their shoes, the logic changed. When he was overweight and decided to gain a lot of weight, he began to realize that that motivation that he had when he was lighter is not the same as somebody that's healthy. And so in that triangle that you're talking about, logic sometimes, you guys, is not just from our perspective, but it's from the person that we're talking to be able to bridge that gap and eventually get them to where they're wanting to go, but it doesn't happen immediately. So that's what my thoughts were. Thanks again for letting me share that as well.
Yeah, she tries to explain that to me all the time.
If I could add just a little bit, I had a client.
Rich. Yeah.
I was just saying, I had a client who gave me a shift in my wellness practice when I knew what Tammie said, exactly what she needed to do to make it happen. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And she said, no, I'm not doing that. What do you mean you're not doing that? I know the formula. I know what it takes to make you go there. And she sat me down and said, you know what? I know you do. And I trust you, which is why I hired you. But in this season of my life, I'm not doing that. And I had to step back and listen and really understand that she was the customer. And although we have a formula, the customer matters. And I know I'm on a whole different level, but it just makes me think about that experience, the customer, the person we're trying to build that trust with. We've got to meet them where they are. I stepped back, she stepped in, and we made a win. And that's what it comes to at the end of the day. So
I like that. I stepped back, she stepped in, we got a win.
Empathy.
That's it. That's exactly it. So I love that trust triangle.
Yes, we're going to wrap, man. I think I may have to have this start going at least an hour and a half, because I feel like once we get going, like we don't want it too long where people lose interest, but I feel like the conversation is so rich and there's so much more we can unpack from this. We'll probably have to do a part 2 of Healthy Home, getting our house in order. But I just want to recap some of the highlights. We've talked about authentic listening. We've talked about just the importance of financial fitness. You know, health is a token or a currency of wealth, but also real money is too, and being smart about that. We've talked about what it means to motivate, and a lot of that being self-motivation and self-empowerment and meeting people where they are. We talked about the importance of trust. And again, we're talking about a lot of this in the concept of working with others outside of the home, but really this is about, again, the home is not just the physical place. It's your body temple, it's the mindset, it's the spiritual home. We talked some about the environmental practices. We didn't get a lot into that, but that's something we can come back and talk about as far as getting the house in order, how we build our body temples. That's good nutrition, that's fitness, that's activity, that's mental awareness and mental health, therapy, coaching, all of those things. And I just want to thank you all. And I hope this has helped everyone to at least have a start in getting their house in order. Now is the time for such a time as this. And I'm grateful for the voices that have been put in front of us, and that the people that I know who can help bring these wellness journeys and be a part of your wellness journey. I was going to ask you guys, and you guys can send me this later, your information or your contacts for your businesses that we can send out to people. We can send out after this. You can put it in the chat. But again, I want to thank you all. God bless and have a wonderful day until next time. Take care.
So much for having me.
Thank you. Had a great time.
Awesome.
Thank you. See ya.